Welcome to Bruins Overtime Live, presented by buyatoyota.com. For offers not seen on TV, visit buyatoyota.com. Billy and Barry to break this one down for you guys. We talked about Austin Matthews being out in this one. The Leafs rallied around that loss and played with a desperation that the Bruins couldn't match until the third period in overtime, and it was too late. Matthew Knies got the game winner. Game 6 on Thursday.
Yeah, the Bruins, despite having those chances in the third, never felt, at least in my eyes, comfortable out there. It was all about, it was all about Toronto, especially the first two periods, setting the tone, setting the pace, showing a more confident, determined effort out there. And that's concerning because this Bruins team said all the right things and they need to come out. Like you talked about it, Coach Montgomery talked about it, wanting them to start on time. And they did the absolute antithesis of that. And the coach was yelling at him yesterday to get ready. And the players, okay, we get it. The players got better. The practice today was all right. And yet they still come out in this game and look very different.
And that's what surprised you the most.
Absolutely.
In this game, because you expected Toronto to come out, as we talked about, the desperation. But as the coach had said, we need to start on time. And it took about a period and a half for them to really get going. If it wasn't for Swayman, it would have been over probably by that time. And that's what's concerning, is the fact that you did not even come close to matching the desperation that you knew Toronto was going to have, and they talked about it.
Yeah.
As you said, they said all the right things, but did not respond.
Yeah, and it needed overtime, and luckily for the Bruins that it did, for Trent Frederic with that goal in the first period, but otherwise Toronto, like you guys said, dominating. The start of overtime, Bruins with the chances, but when it went the other way, Tavares and Matthew Knies made it happen.
I got to tell you something, I thought Knies played pretty well in this game.
He did.
I noticed the young kid.
I thought so too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like in my eyes, I think he said to himself, I got to step up with Austin Matthews out. He's a big kid, like Austin, 6'3", over 200 pounds. Here they go. They're stretching. Sound familiar, right? Toronto stretches.
Yeah,
Grizzly cannot combat John Tavares there. And, the captain of the Leafs, who gets a lot of crap at times, but, not that fast, whatever. He turns on Grizzly. Grizzly's stick doesn't get to the puck. The puck goes off the caroms, off the side, and right there to Knies, who's driving in. He's not picked up. But again, it's the turning of the corner by the captain, John Tavares.
I really like with Tavares, too. He showed, the old veteran shows you his strength, Billy. He holds Grizzly off with his left hand, and he one-hands the puck across. Watch how he protects it right here. He protects it with one hand. He was able to get enough wood and pressure on that, and then Knies comes in from the blind side and is able to get the rebound. Watch how he protects it.
Watch as he hits the side of the net. Does it then hit his skate? Oh, no, it hits Grizzly's skate. Yeah. And it goes, you couldn't place it any more perfect. And the weak side guy, it's Knies driving far post, what he's supposed to do. That play, though, as much as Knies needs to be there to capitalize on it, that play is all Toronto stretch and John Tavares. John Tavares with the little clutch, little giddy up, and then turns on Matt Grizzly there.
Yeah, and Jeremy Swayman, who was excellent all night, just that bounce off the skate, had him lost for a quick second, and as you said, couldn't put in a more perfect spot. The Bruins had several chances in the third period, but an OT as well, guys, to put it away. People were on their feet screaming, but that's the way the game of hockey goes. A bounce here and a bounce there.
Yeah, in the third period, they had some good opportunities. Marchand, Coyle, Frederic were going to show. This one right here, Billy, it just looked like it bounced over Marchand. It kind of came off him where it's bouncing. He's trying to get hold of it. Yeah, a couple of sticks coming in there. Coyle had a crossbar a little bit we're going to show later, but the Bruins had some pressure. Pasternak wrapping it around, coming off of the forecheck, something they didn't do early on, Billy. And here, Coyle just beats him clean, but it goes off the pipe.
Yeah, we saw some of what the Bruins wanted to do. We started to see that energy. We started to see the pace better for them. I will again give credit where credit is due. Joe Woll stepped up. This was the biggest one of them all, no question. As the Bruins get the puck from above, they get it down to Trent Frederic, who goes to the net, goes to forehand. He just couldn't extend it just enough. Now you go to OT, and the first two chances were off the stick of the Bruins because of their forecheck.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was classic, simple forecheck. And Marchand absolutely on a mission to try and end this one low to high. Shot from the point, then you get some other traffic. Marchand's going to get another opportunity. This was the kind of push the Bruins needed from the opening draw.
Woll looks pretty comfortable, doesn't he?
He did, yeah.
It's like, I know the pressure's coming. I'm ready. I'm square.
Great save.
Boy, great pad work where he's able to move laterally there, Billy. Makes some big saves. Marcy with his one big last rush here. The crowd was getting into it. But, back to what you were talking about, Billy, where the Bruins didn't look comfortable. This was a situation, too. The fans didn't feel that way either, did they? The whole game, they didn't feel comfortable at all. Right from the get-go, they were just waiting for something to happen.
And Joe Woll is our
good.
Subaru star of the game. So he came in relief the other night and started this one. Game 5 tonight versus the Bruins, 28 saves on 29 shots. And as I said, our Subaru star of the game. Okay, Jake McCabe scoring in the first period, which opened things up for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Again, talking about the desperation, and they had it from the get-go.
Well, yeah, and the Bruins didn't. So the Bruins are going to they're going to get the puck out. Carlo's a good play here, but he is 5 feet deep of the blue line. And that's an icing. It's a clear icing. And now the Bruins, who were abysmal in the face-off circle. Boy, did they miss John Beecher in the face-off circle, especially in the first. Frederic loses it cleanly to Max Domi. Puck back to the point. McCabe gets it. I'm still not sure if it just kind of curves or if it hits a Bruin just enough. Regardless, Swayman can't see it, and it curves into the net.
Billy, and a lot of that intensity and stuff we talked about, the Bruins were so much better in Toronto. Not only their team defense, but the little things like winning faceoffs, winning the important draws. Here, Domi owned him. What was he, 10 for 10 to start?
First read, yeah.
To start, 10 for 10.
Yeah.
Wow.
At the end of the game, 60% to 40% in faceoffs in favor of the Toronto Maple Leafs. But let's zero in on some of those very important lost faceoffs, including on that goal. But the Bruins lost a lot of D-zone faceoffs in this one.
Yeah, and so now there's going to be, and rightfully so, Barry, questions about lineup decision, right? And
Beecher.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. That's what I'm talking about. Beecher out, and they put Brazeau in up front. So now the coaches are going to have to look at that, and they're going to have to say, all right, if we're going to make a change to get a lefty face-off guy, and there's somebody who can win, has one regularly, what are we going to do? We're just going to show you. The first period was a litany of losses. No other way to describe it. And most of them were ultra-clean losses.
Yeah, and as you know, when you get those ultra-clean, what happens? You start running around. Then you start running around, you get yourself in more and more trouble. But again, as we talked about early on, you were outshot 12-2, and Swayman was spectacular. They were chanting for him early on in this first period because you could feel the nervousness in the building.
And you guys said it in intermissions, I believe, but a calming force. And they weren't that calm, the Boston Bruins, but Swayman was definitely the one that was calming things down. I'm sure Razor's going to have a lot to say about both goaltenders on the very next Morning Brew, which you're doing right after this show. Remember, guys, you can get it at nesson.com/podcast or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. All right, Brick always asks great questions to Jim Montgomery. I am dying to know his answers for what went down in this game, maybe some lineup decisions. We're going to hear from Brick and Monty coming up after the break.